Hey everybody, this is Bacter, back with the second to last of the alternate endings for I Fell from Grace. This time we're going to go for the one that is surprisingly sweet, in my opinion. Now, this one begins with us not giving Grace the pill. Somebody in the thread just asked, what happens if you don't give Grace the red pill? It's such a central plot point, it seems like they'd have to railroad you back on track. Well, let's investigate that. If you don't give Grace the red pill, then you have to go out and get her regular medication from the pharmacy. However, as you may remember, Henry is pretty far in the hole and is running out of credit everywhere, so we have to do a favor for the pharmacy guy before we can get this last refill. The favor, of course, is clearing out the Tsar, the green mohawked young man from out in front, and there are a number of ways we can do that, but only one of them will lead to the ending that I'm shooting for, and unfortunately that entails murdering him. We have to be a tough guy and have the iron pipe in our inventory. If we don't have the iron pipe, as I think I mentioned before, he just beats you up and walks away, so that actually completes the mission. You just, take a couple hits to the jaw or whatever. However, if you do have the iron pipe, you get a few extras. We'll see in just a minute here. Now, one of the things I talked about when Henry did the axe murder was it seemed like he kind of entered a fugue state and wasn't really aware of what he had done, and that's most clear, I think, in the game after this one, where he really seems to be unsure of what he's done. Now, I don't know if that means this is like uncharacteristic for Henry and we, the player, made him do it, or if he was temporarily possessed by the creepy kids, or if this is just kind of the way he rolls. When he does something, he kind of tries to deny it or pretends that he blacked out or something. All of those are valuable options. Either way, as he slowly gets his bearings, we're going to search through his stuff, and there's kind of a hidden decision point here that's very not out in the open. The game changes subtly depending on whether or not you search the van, because the keys that we have go to the black van that's out in front on the street, before we leave and go back to work or not. I think it doesn't change things that much, but because there's more content, we can see if we don't search the van, I'm going to do that. So we head back home, give Grace her medication, and go to sleep. Now, we have our dream as normal, but Grace not having her red pill, things should be a bit different. So I'll cut out her dream, and we'll wake up, in the morning. Henry is a bit sweeter when you make him be nice to Grace. She does, however, wake up with a scream, which is interesting. And setting up just like before. How is that possible? Yes. See, the game railroads you in maybe not the most elegant way, but you can either give her the pill or not give her the pill, and then she steals one out of your pocket, which I don't know if that seems characteristic for Grace, but whatever, it's kind of her fault now. So if you remember, not cheating, as we didn't, makes Dawn... In fact, if you don't give Grace the pill, there's no even option to cheat. Dawn now wants cocaine, but interestingly, before we can get it, we have to listen to this new dialogue by the water cooler chatters when they talk about something we know a lot about, which is Doris's cafe closing down because of the homeless disappearances. This unlocks some other dialogue that, believe it or not, will lead us to the cocaine. Now, before, we would have to get it from the Mohawk guy, from the Tsar, but he's unfortunately been disposed of. I don't know about the grisliest you've ever seen. I just beat the guy to death, and, I am almost certainly going to make that line so dumb, the title of the thread. But, yeah, I guess, I don't know. You'd think in a real bad area like that, they'd see a lot. And this is the guy that we enlisted to help us get the cocaine from the Tsar. And he is, of course, very sad about it, and he knows where the drugs are. So there are a lot of triggers that happen right now. As with all things, I don't know how you'd know them, you just have to talk to everybody randomly, but asking around the neighborhood isn't the scariest or the most unnatural thing that the game could make you do, so I'm not really going to fault it that much. You also have to ask the bartender about the neighborhood and about the hobo disappearings, and all of that is going to make sense in just a minute here, but we really have to establish that Henry is aware of Doris and is aware of the hobo disappearings and how people connect the two of them. So now the game knows, in other words, that we know about all those things. Of course, we've put it together days earlier, but whatever. And finally, these two boys here got something to say about the police and their equipment. Yeah, let's just discuss this convenient plot point. And what a convenient plot point it is, because now we can go to the officer and say we have some new information. You know, I actually don't mind this. I mean, we have the information that we need, and if I wasn't doing a minimal playthrough, I would have talked to everybody anyway, so this just would have naturally come up. Anyway, of course, they didn't animate him walking away, so we're gonna have to, just hang out for a minute and then enter the bar. But that's fine. And as soon as we enter the bar, he, of course, teleports away, and it is now time to loot it. Now, I actually don't know why they make this particular thing happen. It's fine, I suppose, but if you try to use the car key, yeah. I guess it's runaway o'clock. Okay, Henry. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he won't remember the guy that was going to report a murder investigation and made him go leave his post immediately afterwards a drug van was broken into. Anyway, we now have a meat cleaver, wallet, and, of course, the drugs. Now, the meat cleaver, if we wanted to later, is the implement of destruction that we can use to kill Harris when he catches us. But I don't think we're going to do that. Instead, we're going to give the drugs to Dawn. We're going to break the cameras, and we're going to go up to the 3rd floor. Here's Harris. This is an interesting way of dealing with him, I gotta say. Now, last time when we played with him, he made him do his dirty work. But this time, the Tsar is dead. So, what's he going to make us do? Well, the answer is he has nothing for us to do, so we just go to Harris jail. And we have a whole new set of options for dealing with him. Now, I guess he didn't take away any of our equipment or whatever. Actually, that's exactly what we were doing. Well, check out Play Dirty. I don't know if that's obvious, but we either, bite or cut ourselves and just fling blood right into his mouth. This is the kind of thing, this ploy right here is the kind of thing where if he knew a little more, he sure is upset. I actually don't mind it. I think if he knew more about biology or parasitology or research or something, then he would see through this immediately. And, see, look, we're, using information that we have. Yeah. I feel like, we should poison his coffee at this point just to be rid of him, but whatever. We got out, and we give him some kind of, I'm sure, placebo. Although we should have given him a red pill that would have served him right. And yeah, that's a decent way to deal with the guy. Very inventive, more clever than I've seen Henry be in kind of a long time. Now again, if Harris was smart, he could have seen through that in about 10 different ways, but fortunately, he's pretty dumb. So now we go up, we get the animals, we come back home. I don't know why. I have no idea why. But if you don't give Grace the medicine, then the syringe vanishes from your bathroom, and I'm just kind of showing that off here. This is when we've come home and she was making dinner, and now we have to go get a syringe. It really seems like kind of a pointless time-filling thing. I'm not a big fan of it, but especially because I'll show you here in a second what Henry's going to do. But I don't know. I don't know that this happens, having to have people register. Maybe they should have to give their ID and register their name? I don't know. To get a syringe? Even if this isn't the case, if it's the case at this little rinky-dink pharmacy, surely we could drive somewhere to, a 24-hour, Walmart or something like that and get a syringe from there. But no, because this is an adventure game, there are no syringes in the world except for there, and in the local drug lab. Yeah, here we are among the dead and the dying junkies, hanging out on the 4th floor up here. This is definitely the guy, incidentally, who was threatening us at the end of the last play for the final crisis last time, which is sort of interesting. Yes, you seem to be in the business of cooking meth, I would say. Oh. Yeah, they're just really Heisenberg. I guess I don't know enough about meth. Is meth... That's not syringe... That's heroin is with a syringe, right? With meth, don't you do something else? Ingest it differently? Yeah, syringes are really not that hard to come by. I'm having... the obstacles in this game don't seem consistent. Sometimes things that should be very hard, like getting a blowtorch from a guy that's working, is just as simple as going, hey, why don't you give me that and I'll pretend I stole it, and then he does. And then sometimes getting a syringe means we have to break into our company when we haven't really killed Harris yet, and steal a big thing full of chemicals and give it to a meth dealer, and then he gives us his super valuable syringe. Incidentally, if you go this route, there's these people talking in the hallway who point out that there's a meth lab on the 4th floor. There's lots of other playthroughs where it would be important to know this, and these guys don't show up, so I don't know why it's here. I'm also going to point out that it is like winter or very, very cold, and that one person seems to be wearing shorts, but whatever. So yeah, unfortunately, the chemical storage room is, as we can see, past this electric puddle, and some of you guys called it way back in the day. Indeed, the Legmaster 3000 is our ticket to leaping that puddle, instead of, I don't know, anything else that we might do. Putting down a ladder or using something that's non-conductive. Oh well. Let's go ahead and look around and just see what we've got back there. This is really the very last part of the Lieberman building that we have not investigated yet, so that's interesting. It's nothing too mind-blowing. That's pretty unethical. I appreciate a deeply and thoroughly committed to unethicality kind of business. So, yeah, I guess if you're a graduate student, you get 7 test tubes and a light microscope. Good luck. What? Caught using to print a... And Dr. Richards just lives over here? Does he have super buff legs and just hops that thing all the time? Goodness knows, I don't know. Yeah... I'm not doing this... I'm more looking around in this area, honestly, for the sake of completeness. There's a lot, and I've talked about this before, this is a giant, giant world, and there are a lot of incidental details that they put in, and I actually appreciate it. I just don't know that it was necessary. Anyway, here's chemical storage. We know that people are genuinely having a hard time getting to here. We heard the arguing doctor and lawyer talking about that in the main playthrough, so it's not like it's easy to get here. This is our giant vat of chemicals. Yeah, I don't know what they're meant to be. Just some solvent, I guess? I don't know. They're just chemical brand chemicals. And as you might expect, we don't run into any problems with Harris. He doesn't care as long as we're just in the old part of the building. And so, I mean, I'm sure we just traded 700 times the value of a syringe for whatever this thing is. Whatever, seems unnecessary, just kind of like a time filler. And I don't know that this playthrough would be so short otherwise. But then, here we are. That's fine. Anyway, we draw Grace's blood, take a nap right away. Yeah, wouldn't want you to get surly, Henry. And then go through that whole song and dance with using the blood analysis machine, giving the results to the doctor. Grace has all of her various nightmares. And now it's time for the final crisis. Ooh, that's bad. That's real bad. Yeah, Harris isn't quite so dumb. I guess so. Oh, no. Well, he sure is a jerk. Kinda not sad we killed him all those other times. But I love that you can just do the regular end of the game. I actually don't know what happens. Probably Grace just bursts through the ground like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man after you get your promotion or whatever. But no, we're going to focus on Grace. So we head back home and see clear signs of struggle. Yeah. And they've mentioned that smell twice. Harris mentioned the bad smell. And then, nothing new in the fridge. And then what we heard about it when we were there, so that's sort of giving us some clues already. And if we go in the bedroom... what's that behind the bed there? Mold. Sewer mold. Yeah. So and this is like the crazy, crazy deadly stuff that was killing a bunch of people. So this might mean, incidentally, I wonder if this means that Harris is toast because he was down in the sewers for too long. So now if we go downtown, right by our therapists, we see some more mold spores. Incidentally, this stuff grows unbelievably fast. I'm not sure it's cancer. I bet it's not a carcinogenic mold. I bet the mold is just very, very virulent. I'd love it if this was like the start of The Last of Us or something like that. But no, this is all just meant to push us this way. Now this part I'm not so fond of. You have to talk to these homeless guys. And I don't know how you would know to. Again, I think you're just supposed to ask around, but I don't know. I prefer there to be reasonable chains of logic leading to the solutions to puzzles, but that's fine. And what's weird is their advice actually isn't that useful. Like, they tell you one way you could get in. Also, we know that doesn't actually lead to the sewers. That leads to Doris's old cafe. Not this one. The other one. But sure, whatever. And hey, there's our friend with the arc welder / blowtorch. Yeah, this stuff is, if it's deadly enough that, like, just going down there spreads these giant patches of mold. Again, he doesn't seem to mind us taking that. I guess he's distracted with welding. Then that's way too deadly. Anyway, now for whatever reason, we have to go down to the basement of the old section of the Lieberman building. This is where the reactor is, where we killed Miss Jones that one time. And look at this. We found what looks like another entrance to the sewers. Again, I think you just have to explore until you found this. Nothing is really pointing you there. But they do have that big distinctive mold. I had originally thought in the game that the mold was going to be the black spots everybody was talking about, and it was going to have more significance, but it's more green. I really don't think that's what it is. I do think of the power. But now, let's go get Grace. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if anybody would be immune, it would be her, right? Okay. Well, we have our next timed segment. I have no idea how you're supposed to navigate this maze. You can't follow the spores. They're always just sort of drifting in a rightward direction. I looked up on the FAQ how to go through it, but yep, you have 5 minutes until you die from the spores. I don't know if that means you're just for sure dead as soon as you encounter any of them. I guess you could take a red pill yourself if you wanted to, turn into the apocalypse or something. But it's just right, straight. And then as soon as you find this door, you know you've got it. Let's see what we find in here. This is pretty different. So yeah, let's just stay with her. Yeah, no end of the world, no nothing. But what if we didn't accept that? What if we gave her a tablet? Well, I don't know. I will say, that first ending where we stayed with her it's not the canonical one, but it's maybe my favorite. It's kind of nice. It has a nice arc to it in the end, I guess, although it doesn't really solve any problems. And I guess if we give her the pill, then we thought it was a dream, but she's dead, and... We get to hear that sound effect. What in the heck? Oh, that's maybe one of the worst endings, unfortunately. But yeah, kind of sweet, don't you think? She just drifts away. I guess the pill wasn't able to fight the mold. It's got to be some kind of supernatural mold or something like that. But that's an odd ending. It's hard to get to, but I think kind of worthwhile. It was nice to see. Now that was sweet. We've got one more ending to go, the action-packed murder spree. So I will see all you guys for that. Thank you.